Hi, it's Peter again. I've just put up my tree and I'm just sitting down enjoying the evergreen smell. Hey, want to read a book? The House of Wooden Santas. 19 days to Christmas. Jesse moaned. He groaned. He buried his head in his pillow. And when his mother entered the room, as soon as she would, he sounded especially miserable. Poor baby, she sighed. Let Mommy have a look. He took that to be a good sign. Whenever he was sick, his mother treated him like a 4-year-old. Oh, my stomach. She touched it and he flinched. She frowned even more. Poor tummy. She drew in a red breath. Appendicitis. No, he proclaimed. Oh, he forgot to moan as he was saying it, so he said it again. No. How can you tell, sweetie? I don't have a fever. He took her hand and put it to his forehead. And it's not a sharp pain in my stomach. It's kind of like the time I ate too much chocolate. Do you feel like you want to throw up? Jesse hadn't thought of that. Well, sort of. He could see his mother was starting to have doubts, so he shut his eyes and he let his head rest on the pillow, moaned slightly again, and pretended to fall asleep. She kissed him gently on the forehead. Maybe you just need more rest. A day home from school. Finally, the words he had been waiting for, but he didn't stir. He just moaned a sleepy, okay. Only when he heard his mother leave the room and the door creak behind her did his eyes pop open. Oh, he breathed a sigh of relief. A day without Jonathan pestering him. A day to himself. If only he had TV. He heard the door creak. His eyes snapped shut. He felt the edge of the bed sink under the weight of his mother. He felt the touch of her hand against his cheek. She tucked something part way under the covers and against his chest. It felt hard. Then she placed his hands gently over it. She whispered, in the house of wooden Santas, snuggled away is snoozing Santa. He wants you to get plenty of rest. There was a long silence. Jesse didn't dare move a muscle. But his brain was doing cartwheels. Oh boy, he thought. She's really done it in this time. She's turning Santa Claus into a teddy bear. She had her son cuddling into a piece of wood, for heaven's sake. He could end up with a splinter in his chest. As soon as she was out the door, Jesse turned over on his back and examined the poor guy. He was sound asleep, and Jesse couldn't help but imagine his dreams. Jesse laid the Santa on the bedside table, stared at him, and nestled down as comfortably as he was. Jesse tried smiling. He drifted off to sleep. He was awakened by the voices in the kitchen. At first they floated in and out of his head, bits of talk poking at his dreams. The voices seemed to grow louder and give way to often bursts of laughter. Soon Jesse was awake, wondering who besides his mother could be in the kitchen. He could tell it was a woman. He slipped out of bed and tiptoed to the door. He didn't dare open it wider because it would creak. The best he could do was shut one eye and peer through the crack with the other. He caught sight of the two of them at the kitchen table, drinking tea. He could see part of the woman's face. It was the minister from the church they had been to on Sunday. More laughter. I better go, I'm afraid. Their voices grew faint as they headed towards the front door. Thanks for tea. And we'll see you tomorrow afternoon? Jonathan's got a net in the basement. The boys can play hockey. Jonathan! The shock of it caused Jesse to bang his head against the edge of the door. He stumbled back to bed. It couldn't be. But before long, Jesse found out that indeed it was the very same Jonathan. Reverend Agnew dropped by, and I was mentioning how you were having a little trouble getting used to a new place, his mother said. And lo and behold, doesn't she have a boy in your class at school? Now, isn't that a lucky coincidence? Just what the doctor ordered. She was going on and hardly taking a breath. She took one of Jesse's hands and patted it, and she continued full speed ahead. I know you're not feeling the best right now, but tomorrow you'll be back to your old self. And after school, we'll go over to Jonathan's house, and you two can get to know each other even better than you do now. And won't that be loads of fun? Yeah, you don't sound very excited. I'm sick, remember? Though he couldn't even manage a moan. Ah, poor baby. And here's your mummy keeping you awake. Jesse's mother pecked his cheek with a kiss, and as she slipped out of the room, she whispered, just let yourself dream of all the wonderful things your tomorrows will bring. The door creaked shut. Jesse moaned. Until tomorrow, then.